me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitchanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat haomer. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of all, who sanctifies us with commandments and commands us in the counting of the Omer. So we announce the Omer, the day of the Omer, first in Hebrew, Hayom Shloshim Yom Shehem Arba'a Shavuot Ushnei Yamim LaOmer, which means that today is 30 days, which corresponds to 4 weeks and 2 days of the Omer. I cannot believe that we are already 30 days in. So this week we are focusing on a few things. One is energy conservation or sources of renewable energy. And we're also, each week we check in with the Kabbalistic idea connected to the week. So this week the Sfirat is Hod, which corresponds to ideas of humility, simplicity. So I'm going to read a story tonight. It's a little bit longer, so I apologize that this one will be probably longer than the other videos, but I hope you'll stick with me because this is one of my favorite Dr. Seuss stories, and I think, well, it has a lot of really interesting, brings up a lot of interesting ideas, and we'll talk about how it connects to the idea of Hod. So this is Yertle the Turtle, and I'm reading from a treasury, one of those treasuries. So it's a little harder to keep lifting it up, I think, because it's large. So I'll do my best. All right, here we go. This is Yertle the Turtle. On the faraway island of Salamasond, Yertle the Turtle was king of the pond. A nice little pond. It was clean. It was neat. The water was warm. There was plenty to eat. The turtles had everything turtles might need, and they were all happy, quite happy indeed. They were, until Yertle, the king of them all, decided the kingdom he ruled was too small. I'm ruler, said Yertle, of all that I see, but I don't see enough. That's the trouble with me. With this stone for a throne, I look down on my pond, but I cannot look down on the places beyond. This throne that I sit on is too low down. It ought to be higher, he said with a frown. If I could sit high, how much greater I'd be. What a king! I'd be ruler of all I could see. So Yertle the Turtle King lifted his hand, and Yertle the Turtle King gave a command. He ordered 9 turtles to swim to his stone, and using these turtles, he built a new throne. He made each turtle stand on another one's back, and he piled them all up in a 9-turtle stack. And then Yertle climbed up. He sat down on the pile. What a wonderful view! He could see most a mile. All mine, Yertle cried. Oh, the things I now rule. I'm king of a cow, and I'm king of a mule. I'm king of a house, and what's more beyond that, I'm king of a blueberry bush and a cat. I'm Yertle the Turtle. Oh, marvelous of me! For I am the ruler of all that I see. And all through the morning he sat there up high, saying over and over, a great king am I, until long about noon. Then he heard a faint sigh. What's that? Snapped the king, and he looked down the stack, and he saw at the bottom a turtle named Mac. There's Mac. Just a part of his throne, and this plain little turtle looked up and he said, Beg your pardon, King Yertle. I've pains in my back and my shoulder and knees. How long must we stand here, your majesty, please? Silence, the king of the turtles barked back. I'm king and you're only a turtle named Mac. You stay in your place while I sit here and rule. I'm king of a cow and I'm king of a mule. I'm king of a house and I'm king of a bush and a cat. But that isn't all. I'll do better than that. My throne should be higher, his royal voice thundered. So pile up more turtles. I want about 200. Turtles, more turtles, he bellowed and brayed, and the turtles way down in the pond were afraid. They trembled, they shook, but they came, they obeyed. From all over the pond they came swimming by dozens, whole families of turtles with uncles and cousins, and all of them stepped on the head of poor Mac. One after another, they climbed up the stack. Then Yertle the turtle was perched up so high he could see 40 miles from his throne in the sky. "Hooray!" shouted Yertle. "I'm king of the trees. I'm king of the birds and I'm king of the bees. I'm king of the butterflies, king of the air. Ah me, what a throne! What a wonderful chair! I'm Yertle the turtle. Oh, marvelous me, for I am the ruler of all that I see." Then again from below in the great heavy stack came a groan from that plain little turtle named Mac. "Your Majesty, please, I don't like to complain, but down here below we are feeling great pain. I know up on top you are seeing great sights, but down at the bottom we too should have rights. We turtles can't stand it. Our shells will all crack. Besides, we need food. We are starving," groaned Mac. "You hush up your mouth," howled the mighty King Girdle. "You've no right to talk to the world's highest turtle. I rule from the clouds, over land, over sea. There's nothing, no, nothing that's higher than me." But while he was shouting, he saw with surprise that the moon of the evening was starting to rise up over his head in the darkening skies. "What's that?" snorted Yertle. "Say, what is that thing that dares to be higher than Yertle the king? I shall not allow it. I'll go higher still. I'll build my throne higher. I can and I will. I'll call some more turtles. I'll stack 'em to heaven. I need about 5,607. But as Yertle the turtle lifted his hand and started to order and give the command, that plain little turtle below in the stack, that plain little turtle whose name was just Mac, decided he'd taken enough, and he had. And that plain little lad got a little bit mad. And that plain little Mac did a plain little thing. He burped, and his burp shook the throne of the king. And Yertle the turtle, the king of the trees, the king of the air and the king of the birds and the bees, the king of the house and a cow and a mule, well, that was the end of the Turtle King's rule. For Yertle, the king of all Salamasond, fell off his throne and fell plunk in the pond. And today the great Yertle, the marvelous he, is king of the mud. That is all he could see. And the turtles, of course, all the turtles are free, as turtles and maybe all creatures should be. And there's Yertle, king of the mud. The end. Okay, so like I mentioned, I'm guessing many of you also have read that story before. There's so much that we could go into about, well, some themes: equality or equity, uh, slave labor, colonialism, power and authority. Also like um, indigenous people and Native American lands comes to mind. There's a lot. And what I was particularly thinking about when I chose this book was that if you read our weekly guide for this week, for this theme, I wrote a little bit about the Sphira of Hod, of humility and balance in terms of recognizing that the earth is not something for us to conquer, that we just have this mindset, and there's a lot historically behind that of why this is that we have, especially as Americans, have this mindset that the earth is filled with resources for us to dominate. And so Hode reminds us of the need for balancing the idea that yes, there are things in the resources of the world that are for us to use, but that has to be balanced with some humility and this idea that Yertle the turtle, that he just believes that everything he sees, that as long as he sees it, that it's his, and this idea of greed, that he wants to go higher and higher and higher, and just keep conquering more and not worrying at all about what's below him or the consequences of that. besides the human rights impact, which is obviously part of the turtles and the turtle named Mac at the very bottom. Not only that, but also with within terms of climate change, having some sort of awareness of um, the impacts that we're having when we make these choices that oftentimes are fueled by a sense of greed, which greed is kind of a dirty word. We don't want to think of ourselves as greedy, um, but that is a big part of our society that we need to grapple with. And so I love some of the ideas that this book brings up, and hopefully we are not individually, we are not Yertle the turtles. Um, and I hope that we're not Max, but we also have to think about the Max in our world, because we know that the impact of climate change has the most impact on the people who have the least resources. And so we do have a responsibility to think about that. Um, and and be aware of uh, our relationship to the land, that it's not all about conquering and getting sort of higher and higher for everything that we can see. So anyway, there's so much more that I could say. I would love to hear what you all think about this, what it makes you think of, and I will see you again tomorrow. Lila